Hey, 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 what's good? What's good? Welcome to our History Month. And I am glad to be here. It is Wednesday, Podcast Wednesday. Let's talk real talk. And y'all know as every year, we want to bring to you more education all year long, but definitely cater to the month of February, where we are a little bit more honored and we give a little bit more homage and a little bit more reverence to our culture than any other time. So I'm going to wait for y'all to come in. I hope thus far you guys are having an amazing week. I really want to thank those who prayed for me on Monday and Tuesday and who continue to pray for me around the clock. If you think of me, wish good thoughts and prayers towards me, my family, and your own self if you're connected to me, because my goal and my energy and my spirit and my prayers and my meditation are towards all of us winning. So if that is you, thank you. Thank you so very much for continuing to uplift me in prayer. That was really hard for me. And we've suffered a lot of losses as a culture, going all the way back to being captivated or enslaved. So for us to, hey B. So for us to still continue to have losses after all this time, it is something that is very traumatizing. And for me, it's like I have stuffed a lot of stuff. I don't kind of deal with it. You know, you deal with it for that moment and it's like, okay, I have to shut all this off so that I can function and do what I need to do for my everyday life and what I need to do for most of the people who are still alive, who've made it through diseases, viruses, bacteria, sicknesses, all the different things that's going on, heart attacks, strokes, any type of mental illness, emotional breakdowns, whatever it is that we are suffering from, the loss of suicide, just people passing away seeming of natural causes, whatever it is, we are here. And the question is, what are we going to do with it and where are we going to go and how are we going to move forward as a culture? I know they say Black history. I want to say Blaq Our History Month, because as we were taught, his story is history. So we still giving him advantage over our story by calling it his story, because it's not his story, it's our story. And they have always changed the narrative when they have came to our story. So it's Blaq Ourstory Month, okay? And so I just want to start out with, I don't know if you guys know that every year there is a Black History Month theme. And this year's theme is something we should have been doing. That is Black resistance. Can y'all feel me? Black resistance. It's amazing how we will resist everything that has to do with one another. We will resist supporting Black businesses. We will resist trying to talk to this certain individual Black person. We will resist collabing with this Black person or this Black business or this Black affiliate. Whatever it is, we will resist so many things other than what is right in front of us, the system that is continually to resist us and constantly saying that we are resisting them. Rather, we're resisting their arrest, we're resisting their laws, we're resisting what they instituted to keep us bound, we're resisting the fact that we're supposed to be enslaved and not mentally and emotionally and spiritually free. So we resist everything but the things that we should. So this year, the Blaq Our History Month theme is Black resistance. So African Americans have resisted history and ongoing oppression in all forms, especially the racial terrorism of lynching, racial pogroms, and especially the racial terrorisms of police killings since our arrival upon these shores. Now, you can find any of the information I'm speaking of on asala.org, okay? And I'll repeat that again at the end. So we're going to get into some history. There was a Black man named Carter G. Woodson And he is the one who established, says the Negro History Week, but we're going to say the Negro Art History Week in 1926. He realized the importance of providing a theme to focus the attention of who we are, what we mean, the value we have added to everyone's existence, and especially this whole part of the United States, what we have had to offer, so that the public could pay attention to who we are. We were going to have a voice. He was determined to make sure that we had a voice to speak, a voice to stand 10 toes down on what it is that we know to be true. And he granted us that by doing what? Not resisting, but by going forth with his voice and not keeping silence. So he didn't resist doing it because it was out of the norm in 1926, for sure. He didn't resist doing it because, oh, they're going to look, they're going to talk, I'm going to draw this attention to me. Oh, I don't want to get pulled over for no reason whatsoever and end up losing my life. He was so fed up that he said, look, y'all gonna hear. We have purpose here. We were destined to be here. Matter of fact, we are the first man here. And so we need to be heard. So he established that in 1926. The intention has never been to dictate or to limit the exploration of the Black experience or our Black enterprise. Okay, but to bring to the public's attention important developments that merit emphasis on who we are, what we built, how we built this country, what all we have done in the history books, how they have absolutely had us doing absolutely nothing, but we have done most of it, all of it. And somebody stole it and duplicated it. Now, if you go last year when I did this last year in this month, you will see where I talk about that, and I give you the history of the people who actually built the certain things, like the railroad and the different things that we have never been taught about these people and what they did. You know, our people have done great and amazing things, but in his story, we're never, ever, 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 ever put out there. They might put 1 or 2, 3 names. What's the 3 names we know that's always out there? If y'all in the comments, tell me the 3 names y'all know that's always, put to the forefront. 3 names. Like they did everything. And they did great things. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but there are so many more of us that have done great things and made great inventions and witty inventions and things that are patented with our people's name on it. But yet, they don't talk about it. And now they're even going as far as to abstract anything. Y'all better pay attention to what's going on in Congress and in y'all local. They're trying to abstract anything that ever has, like we never existed. So for us to be nobody, about nothing, and going nowhere at our own will, not being programmed to be these people that we have been programmed to become as a culture, but our original design. You know how I say, what does your heart say? The heart that God gave us, the original design. They stole it. They stole the patents. They would steal the stuff of the inventors and put their name on it, knowing good and well their slave that they let work continually and obviously aimlessly so they could take it. I talked about that last year. Y'all go back and see who that was. When I tell y'all, we have so much rich history. There is no reason why we live in poverty. And so if we're nothing and we weren't created to be anything and we don't matter, and then things that don't matter, you don't have to do anything to correct. You know, the saying is what's known don't need to be said. Well, if it's known and those are facts, then leave us alone. But y'all know that's not true, that we are a magnetic people. And we do hold more power than we ever could imagine with our electrifying selves. And if we came together on one frequency, they already know. So he just wanted to develop this week for us to have emphasis on who we are. Now, again, for those interested in the study or of the identity and the ideology of us, or any of its explorations, you can go to Asala, Black History themes, and check it out again. That's at ocelot.org. There have been a lot of movements in the past years, but the main goal of these movements is to get us to reflect on who we are, change who we've become, and become more of the African descent that we were created to be, because we're not on the continent anymore, to become that right where we are in the United States. The influence of social movements on racial ideologies and the aspirations of the Black community is something that should be taught in our own individual homes to our children. And what we don't know, we can never be too old to learn. We have to remain reachable, I like to say, and teachable. So African Americans have resisted historic and ongoing oppressions in all forms, especially the racial terrorism. The efforts that have been made to advocate for a dignified self-determination of life not just in democratic society, but in the United States and beyond the United States political jurisdiction. In the 1950s and 1970s, in the United States was defined by actions such as sit-ins, boycotts, walkouts, strikes by Black people and white allies in the fight for justice against discrimination against us in all sectors of society and employment, education, and in housing. And it's sad. That was what I told y'all, 19 what? And then it spilled on down into the 1970s. And you mean to tell me we are still fighting the same fight today? Is that them or is that us? Because, see, we have to start taking accountability. Yeah, they might have got away, but now we have come into the knowledge to know better is to become better and do better. Just be better. So can we still blame it on them? Because now that we all agree that we have been programmed, and our children are even more being programmed through the music and these game systems, now let's find the remedy on how to deprogram. Why are we so focused? We know we've been programmed. Why are we so focused on that narrative? We so focused on, we know they did it. We know what they did. Lynch said what he was going to do. They got together by the watersides and they did this 100-some years ago. But we still, why are we know what they did. So why are we not trying to get together, all of us? Now, a few of us are waking up and trying to find, but why are we not all grabbing somebody to say we need to deprogram? We worried about defunking police. How about deprogramming our minds? I'm just saying, because at the end of the day, they hold a big responsibility. Oh, and yes, blood is all over their hands, but it's on ours too. What are we going to do to become a better culture? What are we going to do? What are we going to do to deprogram ourselves? I know I'm still programmed in areas. I'm sure you're still programmed in areas. And the young people don't even know half of the time what certain stuff is. So they know more of the new phase stuff that you're doing. We know the older, we need to bridge in the gap and come together and sit down and turn the cards over and match and figure out how we can get out of this muck that we in as a culture. Because honestly, you guys, if we don't start resisting the right stuff, we will be the minority for real. We were never the minority. We were always the majority. Always. Y'all got to pay attention to what is happening here. So getting back to the 1970s, from employment to education and to housing, we still battling the same stuff. There's so many people homeless after this pandemic, and guess who only is systemically affected by it after this pandemic? It's us. Yeah, them, but those are the collateral damage. Some of them are in the same predicament, but those are the ones that are collateral damage. Those are probably the ones they call the poor trash people. Those are the ones that they really don't care about. They probably kind of feel like they're not of us. They look like us, but they ain't, because they do some of their own that way too. It ain't just us. So those are their collateral damage. They homeless, okay, yeah, but the majority of it is affecting us. Black people have had to constantly push the United States to live up to its idealistic or their idealism of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. Systemic oppression has sought to negate much of the dreams of our griots like Langston Hughes and Zora Neale Hurston, and our freedom fighters like Reverend Martin Luther King. That's the names I want to try to say, the three names they always throw at us. And there are so many more names that have done so many great things, but Martin Luther King was one of them. Junior Septima Clark and Fannie Lou Hamer. They fought because they realized Black people have sought ways to nurture and protect Black lives, and for autonomy of their physical and intellectual bodies through armed resistance. Why is that now programmed that the armed resistance is against our own selves? The armed resistance is us shooting us down in the middle of the street. Just alone last night, I rarely watch the news, but last night I happened to watch the news. And to know that just in Hampton, like that day, a young man had been killed. The day before, a young man had been killed. It's against the wrong person. I don't get it. When we stood together, we weren't armed resist. We weren't against each other. We stood together. We locked arms. We stood. We got holds. Our ancestors are dead and gone. Emmett Till dragged through the streets for us to still be in some of the same places that we should have grown beyond. Y'all don't make sense. Make it make sense. They had armed resistance, voluntary, immigration, nonviolent, stands and marches, education, literature, sports, affiliations. And they were doing all these things, and they did that, and they stood on it. Nobody was trying to steal or rob, or if you raise money for this, nobody was had their hand in the kitty jar trying to take so their family could live better than the next. No, we really put it together. There was a time we were honest people who truly loved one another and were trying to bridge in a gap that has been torn apart and broke down brick by brick. And sadly, lately, it's been by our own hands. Because we know the tools that was used to get us here. Now, how do we undo it? They did legislations. They protested. They did all of these things to achieve success in one effort. And that effort was for us to live and maintain a healthy life. Mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and most importantly, financially. We wanted to protect what we had already done, what we already had created, which was economic success. That's all. We have to get back to that place, y'all. The time is coming. This isn't over. Their game is not over. They at halftime. We don't start putting up money. Start planting gardens where we share with our people. Start buying land where we need to build homes on one land so that we all can have land. Bury our people on one land so that we ain't got to be going back to the streets and dealing. If we're going, y'all, this is real. This ain't over. Who are you in allegiance with that look like you? That you can really go to and say, if I'm hungry, if we got to break out in 2 o'clock in the morning because all of a sudden a martial law has been passed and we again ain't allowed out of our house, but this time we got military tanks sitting out in front. Do I have somewhere? Did we learn how to get out and sneak like Harriet got us out of certain places? Do we know somebody we can trust? Or y'all gonna snitch to the new master today? Who can we trust? Who are we in allegiance with? Who are we building allegiances with? What do we have? Do we have that to go to person? If somebody that was smart enough than us that we can build the land, that already built the land and got the land and already started building on is what I'm trying to say. Have you burnt that bridge with him because you got jealous and not ever looking at the bigger picture? But they got us so tunnel vision on being a Jones. when our name was Hakma over in our land, Nevera Jones? What are you gonna do? What is it that you can? What is it that you're gonna what? Who are you? Who are your alliances with? Do you have somebody? Because this is the time to start thinking, not burn bridges, but build bridges, y'all. Because this is not a joke. This is not a video game, and these people aren't popping back up like, whoo, credits is rolling, we're done. They are gone. And we are all one situation and one step from being those situated people who have gotten their call from the police or from whoever that their person has gone, their person has been shot, their person has been pulled up, whatever it is. We are one situation away. We are one scientific experiment away from you can lose everything. All of us. Do we have alliances? That's the question. Do we have alliances? Or are we just going through life as if nobody owes you anything? You don't owe anybody anything. Life is always going to be fair. It's going to be great. And we're not going to be put in a position to where we have to actually fight this thing out. I'm just asking real talk questions. Because I'm telling y'all, this is where we're at. This is what we're in. And if y'all not paying attention to these signs, y'all, we going to be left in a bad situation. Our children are going to be left in a bad situation. And the worst thing you can do is leave your children here with no type of fundamentals on how to survive. That's spiritually first. Physically. The mentally will come with the spiritual, because if you're spiritually grounded, your mind is all right. Emotionally all right. But we need to be financially cushioned. Am I there yet? No, but I'm working on it. So we have to, hey sis, we have to pay attention to what's going on. So they did all this to protect our economic success. Black people have organized, planned violent insurrections against those who enslaved us, such as in Haiti, and armed themselves against murderous white mobs, as seen in Memphis just as of recently. And unfortunately, the mob this time, what do they look like, y'all? The mob that's been all over the news, who they look like? Who did they look like, y'all? They look like us. The last mob that we just seen in Tennessee looked like us. Now this is talking about 1923. We in 2023. How many years later is that? And you mean to tell me the mob has now turned into us? What is wrong with that? The mob has turned into us. So it says, like they did against murderous white mobs, as seen in Memphis, Tennessee in 1892, Rosewood, Florida in 1923, and New Orleans in 1900. Additionally, some Black people thought that the best way to resist was to self-liberate, as seen by the actions those who left the plantation system of Henry Adams and Benjamin Pap Singleton, when they led a mass exodus westward in 1879, and Bishop Henry McNeil Turner of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, who organized immigration to Liberia. Y'all, we have the power to do it. Do you think that when those energies are now ancestors, that energy still isn't out here waiting to exist and live in someone else? We have that same power. Those same genetic DNA droplets are still in each and every one of us. We have to tap into it. We have to tap into and open up those parts of ourselves to understand that this is who we are. This is who we are. And we have to be proud of that. And we have to fight for that. You know, by faith, we have made it this far. But God doggone it, we got so much further to go. Sadly. We are now in a war against ourselves. So we got a war going on within our own self, and then within our own community, and then within the other race. What quicker way, what smooth and smart way than to kill a bunch of birds with one stone? The stone is like a boomerang. What better way? But we too busy being asleep and not woke. Let that resonate in your spirit. Because if we don't start instituting these things, y'all, we gonna be lost. I want you to think about that. Put 5 people down on a piece of paper that you feel that you could build an alliance with in a drastic situation, worse than what happened, because that was just a test run, y'all. Who can you run and hide to? Who got the boat? We need to leave off this side of the water and go somewhere else on the water, on the ocean. Who has the boat? Who are your 5 alliances? Do you have 5? And then if you do have 5, then go ahead and write them down. And then what I want you to do is give each of them a call and say, hey, you know, it's a lot going on in the world, and I just wanted to have a conversation with you. If the world was to go into this place, you know I got this and I got this. I'm just wanting to ask, would you be willing to gather together and see where they at? Because you might think you got them as alliance, and they might be a ubu scary cat in their boot type person. And you think they hard as you, but when it come down to facing what they need to face, oh, I don't want to show no resistance. I don't want to get into it with the man. Or are they going to stand with you? Or are they going to be like, yeah, bro, I got you. Come on, let's go. Matter of fact, let's get together and sit down and write some stuff out. You know, what we going to do with the women and the children? This is strategic planning, y'all. This is not no joke. We are not in TV shows, y'all. We've watched enough damn TV. We've watched enough. Now we are living in reality, and we have a responsibility and a right as a culture and a community to do what it is that we need to do. Building generational wealth and building something that we know that we have. I'm serious, y'all. I don't come here to play with y'all every week. I don't. And I'm telling y'all, I'll need y'all to write down. This is for you, and it ain't for me. It ain't for me, because I know who my 5 alliances is, and it ain't for me. But you need to even probably add 2 extra bonuses, because people dying left and right, and especially if they done got the okie bokie dokey spokey, they definitely probably gonna come up with something crazy and could leave here earlier than what they need to. So you might want to put 2 extras as your fallback people, because hopefully and prayerfully your alliances are healthy and safe and they didn't get hokey pokey. But if they did, you might be having to move yourself all around. So put another person, another 2 people. But I'm challenging you to do that. Write out your 5 alliances and figure it out. Who would be there? Who would be the one to have your back? Who could you build in a life? Y'all needed to, if the news came across today and said such and such is invaded, this side of America and this side of the waters and blah, blah, blah. Are we ready? Do you have a generator? Do you have one of those new chargers that come on YouTube all the time that you can charge the phone anywhere? Do you have an old-fashioned TV with just an antenna? I do. I'm just saying, do you have an old radio with just an antenna? I do. Do you have these things? Because y'all, this ain't no joke. We are always beat up because of a lack of knowledge. And then when we get the knowledge, we get it and we don't apply it. I'm not on here to play games with you. I'm telling you, start applying this stuff. What you don't have, manifest. Manifest. By faith, these Black institutions were spaces where Black communities met to organize resistance efforts, inspired folk to participate in the movements, and offered sanctuary during times of crisis. By faith. That ain't my door this time, y'all. That's always the new people. Bless their hearts. But what can we do by faith? What institutes do we have to do this? We don't have much because we're not doing what we need to do. We don't have a whole lot because we're not gathering our finances together. We living for today. We're living for right now. But y'all got to know this plan that they have is not over. This was just the beginning. This was the test run. We are on halftime. Don't think they ain't creating stuff right now. Don't think they ain't went back to the drawing board. Y'all, come on. So who is your alliances? Where is your safe place in a time of crisis? What family member can you go to? What friend can you go to? And I'm going to be real all the time. All of them are not against us. Not all of them at all. It's a good percent that ain't with none of the bullcrap their ancestors have done. And sometimes your alliances might even have to be with one of them because you think that Harriet ain't have alliances. Yes. If you go on HBO and watch The Good Lord Bird, go watch that. That's a very good movie. One of my friends is in that movie. That's how I knew about the movie. She's in the movie, Kanisha, as a slave. And that is a good series. When I tell you The Good Lord Bird, have you crying, have you laughing? But it's so powerful and educational. That is on HBO Max. That is The Good Lord Bird. I challenge y'all to go watch that. Get a better understanding, a more modern breakdown. Well, you could probably understand it more than you did the way they did this thing so good. They did that thing so good. Don't nobody talk about that one, though, because it showed you some stuff. I ain't seen that put up nowhere to get any awards. And I think that came out at the beginning of the plan in 2020. That came out in 2020. And so I'm telling y'all, The Good Lord Bird, go watch it. I'm telling you, your life will be forever changed for watching that. And so in watching that, it was so much going on. Where they had safe havens. It showed you how Harriet had to maneuver. And she talked to those that didn't look like us. And they was glad to help her. They hid her. They did everything they needed to do. There are still people like that. But you need to be woke enough to know who they are. But it's so sad you ain't even woke enough to know in your own community who they are and who you are and who we are up against. And right now it seems we up against each other. Our young black men who have totally been so programmed that they don't know whether they can kill their mama and their daddy or their neighbor or the person in the street about a game. You can't tell me these kids ain't being programmed through a game. And all y'all gamers who like, well, you explain it then. When your mama told you no for Pac-Man, for Donkey Kong, for Atari. Yeah, I done went way back to the beginning of the game systems. Was we falling all out, trying to find a way to kill your parents in their sleep because you could? No, you was excited to get out of school, do what you need to do, and found it a privilege to get your black tail back on there the next day. And let's see if I can beat my score today. It was simple. Now they got AI in these games. And y'all think it's a joke. I told my son the other day, this game will be gone. Because I see you already tripping. I sure did. And I sure seen the change. That fast. He had that since the first day of Kwanzaa. And he don't play it every day. He just got it unlocked and stuff. And you acting like you can't hear? I told you to do this and you ain't do it. You went right back like a zombie in there to play that game. I'm being real, y'all. This is what he did. And I had to look at him. I said, oh, this is what we doing? Oh, you off of that. He stomped off. Anybody know my son, he don't play with me. It got you stomping off? You ain't even been on there. You ain't even on there hardly ever. And when you on there, I do let you play more than 2 hours. So you probably on there 5 hours. And you acting like this. And you probably done played the game from Kwanzaa till now probably about 6 times. Oh, okay. Yeah, this one is programming you to get your behind toe up. So, I seen it. Y'all better pay attention. Quit letting everything raise your kids but you. A village raised us. What make you think you ain't got to institute the same stuff that worked? And why did they have the village? Why did the ancestors of the proverb, that's an African proverb. Why did they institute it then, y'all, if it didn't matter? Come on, y'all. So who is your safe place? Where are you going to go in a time of crisis when the next pandemic or the next whatever they got going on come through? Do you have your 5 people? But they did all these wonderful things by faith to promote awareness of the myriad of issues and activities, media outlets were developed, including radio stations, podcasts, newspapers, as in the Chicago Defender, Chicago Bee, the Afro, the California Eagle, Omaha Star, the Crisis, etc. And Ida B. Wells used publications to contest the scourge of the lynchings. These outlets were pivotal in sharing the success and challenges of resistant movements. Again, you can find all this information on asalh.org. That is asalh.org. Y'all, it's that time again for a new movement. It is. And y'all could keep trying to ignore it until it hit your doorstep, until it's your kid's school that got shot up. Keep ignoring our children. Keep ignoring the fact that this is happening in our own community at our own Black hands. You can keep on pretending. You can keep on acting like it don't bother me. It's my 4 and no more till that 4 knocks on your door, shot, and falls through your door bloody. And you screaming, trying to think and get your mind together to call the ambulance to help your child survive, to live. So it's your 4 and no more till that 4 knock on your door. Till it hit home, it don't matter. Till that blood is scattered. Resistance is what we have been stood upon and we've had to do. Not because we wanted to, we were chose to do. Because we had no other choice at hand. It's a fight to stand here and be a Black woman or a Black man. Constantly struggling, trying to strive and thug our way through. But yet and still, it's us out in the street doing what we do. Yeah, they got hands of blood that stain with ours. But look at every Black boy killed on the corner next to the liquor store or bar. Tell me that wasn't a setup. And I tell you, my name is Grace. Because the one thing I can't stand to look at another broken father or mother's face. And until we can stand 10 tones down in who we are and were created to be, we will always continue to be the allegedly. But he DNA'd us. He stamped our heart and our soul with his DNA. That's enough. There should be nothing more to say. What are we going to do as these crises continue to roll through? Are we going to stand by and wait for it to be you or me? Open up your eyes so you can see. This ain't over. It has just begun. I'm over it, y'all. My hands is wrung. Y'all ain't tired yet of crying out and seeing your people hurt? Digging up 6 inches and 6 inches and 6 inches and 6 more inches of dirt to bury our people, our Black young men. The sperm that connects with the egg that creates us. That's how we do it, y'all. That's how it's done. That makes us who I am. I'm trying to tell you one thing and one time only. If we do not stand together in this last time, in these last days, in this last hour, it will be us only. Only to blame for the reason we are this way. Only us to blame and have nothing left to say. Then it's too late. All the time is ran out and there ain't no more days. I'm just saying, when we gonna get tired? So we first can start on being resistance on the acceptance of what's going on with our Black communities. Be resistant with the gun violence. Be resistant with the self-hate. Be resistant with the self-hate of your Black brother and your sister. Children hating children, starting in 5 years and 6-year-old, having hatred in their heart, don't even know where it's from. Programmed through these games. Programmed through what they see in their neighborhoods, in their communities, on these movies. And we can't get mad at something that we see and we refuse to work with. We can start by resistance. By resisting those things that we see in our community that don't line up, that don't make sense. I know you don't want to hear nobody's mouth. I know people get mad when you say something to their kids and adults get mad and say, Listen, if you open this up, it's a thing called discernment or empath. That spirit will speak to you and say, this is that, this is now. The door will always be open because you said, Lord, I will go. Don't pretend like you don't know. You know. So let's stop there. Let's start there with the resistance, and let's stop it there with the hate, the self black on black crimes, us killing our own selves more at a rapid pace than the police. We have to stop the black killing by the way of drugs, by the way of murders, rapes, and trafficking of our children, our black women, and even our black boys. Don't think they ain't trafficking black boys. Don't think they ain't, because they are. The killing and the murders are not confined to the United States either. It's on other regions and other continents. And one of them still is our continent. Y'all don't know. I don't know if y'all saw the TikTok that I posted, but I got it from somebody else as a reel. I got it from Passion and Poetry. She's dope. Shout out to her. And I just clicked, and as soon as I heard the man's cry, that was a soul cry. I don't know if y'all ever heard a soul cry. I'm going to tell you what a soul cry sounds like. The soul cry sounds like that mother who just got that phone call that they found her baby dead on the corner of Alibi and All the Lies. That soul cry where your breath, your wind wasn't knocked out of you, and you find yourself knocked to your knees and nobody hit you. It was a soul cry that came from my motherland. And that man cried out and he said, I saw my family murdered before my face. I saw the women in my family raped before my face. Is there no help? Is there no help out here? Is there no help for us? The way he sing, and I'm going to post it again because y'all going to understand this month and every month. But it seems like this month y'all get all, when I'm sensitive all year to it. But if it takes one Art History Month to get y'all woke and paying attention, I am definitely going to find it and repost it. And sis, if you can find the original one, then find it for me. We got the young girl that was there too that did it. But her cry was a cry. But that man cried ain't nothing like a man warring in his spirit for his people. Because the black man was created with excellence to be protectors, guiders, and leaders, and warriors. So when you heard all of that raise up out of his soul, it did something to me. That began my weeping for the nations. That began my intercessory prayer for the nations. That began me not being okay. Because I was stuffing it. Not that I didn't deal with it and I don't pray about this community issue. This lineage issue. But I just try to cope with so much every day with all the personal deaths, family. But when he started, I couldn't help it. And I tried to be better and then spilled on into the next day with my cousin being a victim of fentanyl overdose and young 20-some-year-old mother leaving her children. That thing, and to be on the phone when the doctors pronounce her gone and my sister screaming and I'm on the phone just heart stopping and that kind of soul cry. Okay? So forgive me for caring. Forgive me for praying for you and your children and I don't even know you. Forgive me for thinking enough of us as a people to stop and pray and ask y'all to pray for me because I got to carry some burdens of the world and my own personal right now. But I wasn't too big to do it. But I needed some strength for somewhere else. Right now, our generation, our lineages, our people are in the biggest crisis we've been in a very long time. And yet we laying somewhere asleep. Wake up! Because this stuff ain't going away. It ain't going away until we stand on it and resist it and get it away. If we ever want to change, If we ever want to change, we have to deprogram. What does that look like? That looks like us reading. That looks like us knowing how they did what they did. And the remedies are there. The frequencies are there. The frequencies are there. The frequencies are there to heal. Y'all know music is a frequency, right? Y'all know music is made to heal. Y'all know that there are different frequencies purposely put in the other music. And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of rap. But like I tell my own biological child, change that conversation. I don't want to hear nothing about you had to pull out nothing on another one of your people. Again, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that trap mouth. You weren't even raised like that. You was a church boy playing some dang on drums in church. So if you take a path of destruction, I can do nothing but continue to pray and cover you like I cover everybody else's sons. And definitely my own. So we have to change the conversation. If we were ever charged to change and to deprogram, it is now. I'm going to say that again. If there was ever a charge for us to deprogram and to change, it is now. We have to come together, y'all. And if it's only what you getting with your own community. I'm in a 757. If you get with your people in 10, 20 people in Norfolk, that's a start. Somebody get with 10 and 20, maybe 5 only come out. In Virginia Beach, that's a start. Start it. They will come. The saying says, build it. That's building something, honey. Build it, and they will come. People want to, but they don't know how. Somebody that's building it, and I shout him out often, is the VIP LLC, and I ask y'all to tap into him. If y'all want to donate to him, tap into Cameron Bertrand. Follow him on here. It's Mind of a Billion on here. He's doing it. He said he was going to do it, and he's doing it. He called me months ago like, Mo, sis, how can you help me? I need you to do this. I need you to find some properties. I did that. I did whatever I can to help that man because he is out here fighting for our kids, fighting for the black men and women, and fighting for our culture. And he is one man standing 10 toes down, and he built it, and guess what? They follow. 2, he got money. Big money. And all they said is, get your building. If you get your building, we'll pay people to be on your payroll. Guess maybe they didn't think he was, but he moved quickly. And he had people praying, people pushing, people encouraging. And he's up and he's running for people who are victim of gun violence. People who have been shot and people who have lost someone to gun violence. He has a therapy team in place, physically and mentally. He's trying to get you ready. Get you prepared, because this is not over, y'all. It's more stuff they doing in the working. God don't sleep. The enemy don't sleep. Why the hell is you sleep? I digress. It's Black Art History Month, y'all. What can we do to change our history? From his story to our history, to our story. Okay? So it's our story month. And we have to remember that it is in our hands. Ain't nobody fault. We can't blame nobody else no more, y'all. Everybody I seen on the news, I see maybe 2, other than those, the mob in Tennessee that look like us. I only seen about 3 cop murders so far, too, compared to all the black on black shot on the corner crimes. That came from our hands. Our hands. Our hands. Our hands. Our hands. Over something that don't belong to you. Over a turf. Again, I keep telling you young black men, I love y'all. That corner don't belong to you. Yes, your ancestors built it. We still have got no reparations for it. Listen, sir, that's not your block. Then white people will come scrape your black tail up off that sidewalk and hand you over to your mama. You, your brains, your limbs, whatever's left of you there, they're going to scrape your black tail up off that sidewalk. So raw and ungodly, ain't it? How I'm saying it. But that is the reality. And if we quit living in a credit world where we think that when the credits is going to roll, but this is real life. Ain't no credits rolling. Ain't nobody getting up off that corner. That young man who was murdered last night, he's not getting back up. His mama not waiting to see, oh, I'm so proud of my baby. He did that part. No, this is real life. They're going to scrape you up off of the ground. And your mama going to pay taxes if she live in that neighborhood on that very ground that you was killed on. So she basically paying for you to be scraped up beforehand and afterhand. Y'all, come on, make it make sense. Make it make sense. And sue your cities when your kids is getting killed on these corners. Sue them. Yes, you can. People don't even know that. If your child is murdered within your city limits, you have a right to sue that city. Yes, you do. I said it. Yes, you do. Because why are these kids so freely and able to get guns? What are y'all doing as a law in the people in the political forefront to really fight against them getting these weapons? Nothing. They starting to, because it's starting to hit their door and therefore. See? But before that, it was an inner city problem. So I'm telling you now, this has just begun. And I'm going to need you all to tap in. And you don't have to. But don't blame it on nobody else. Don't blame it on the rain. Don't blame it on anything else but you repeatedly repeating a cycle that makes your behind insane. And that's it. And that's all. I digress. Seriously. My goal every week is to bring y'all something that's fundamental, something you can add value to your life with, something that you can think about like, dang, something that you can say, you know what, I need to try that. Something that can make you want to be a better you, better black person, a better cultured person, a better human being, a better person overall for you and for everyone around you. Tag somebody in this if it resonates. If you know somebody that's lost their child, if you know somebody who's in the fight for fighting for our justice and our deprogrammed mental freedom and these things, and it resonates. So you've had this conversation with somebody recently, please tag them. Please share it. Please share it. I don't care nothing about viral. I care about people getting something instituted in their mind, body, and spirit that will cause and bring forth change. So that we can be the warriors that we were stolen from our own places to be dummied down as a slave instead of the warriors we were created to be, to come back and begin to get in their places. Frontline warriors is who we are called to be in this hour. Is you weaponry ready? And I'm not talking about with no guns. Are you spiritually, mentally, and emotionally equipped? Are you humble and tough enough to do this thing? Because y'all, it's just begun. I come through this to have some real talk with you. All I ask is that you continually, if you like, be the light in somebody else's darkness. Because you really do not know when your night is going to be, y'all. We don't know when it's going to be your 4 and no more that falls through the door. We don't know. So I need you to be humble or sit down. Please pray for one another. Pray for those bereaved families that have lost their loved one. Pray for Ricky Smiley, who lost his son. I don't even quite know yet what happened. I've just been following it and I haven't really seen. And whatever it is, I know a man is hurting, you know, and people are hurting, although life is happening to everyone. With or without our permission, it's happening, right? Be the weight off of somebody else's shoulders by showing light and love to somebody else. And watch how those great things in your time will flow right back into your own life. Y'all have a great week. I will meet you here next Wednesday. The Lord say the same. 1 p.m. with some more our history. Some more Black talk. Let's talk Black talk. Until then, keep your mind, your heart, and your soul elevated towards greatness. Later, my people. I love y'all. Be safe this week.